NFL Week 2 is in the books, and today we're going to go over all the biggest winners and losers from the week. I'm your host, Jack Gretler. Welcome to the Pro Ball Pod, and let's get right into it with the winners. As for the first big winner, give me the Detroit Lions offense. After last week, at a brutal loss to the Packers, everyone was starting to question who was the real mastermind behind the Detroit offense. Are they going to be the same football team this year? Ben Johnson made the Detroit Lions. All of these questions were floating in the air, and to be frank, the Lions made it personal after that and went absolutely ballistic against the Bears. This was not a normal offensive performance. This was dropping 50 on the Bears' head. They didn't just destroy the Bears, they made an example out of them. First, looking at the stats, Jared Goff threw 5 touchdowns and 350 yards. Absolutely crazy. Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs went off. Monty for like 50-something yards, Jahmyr Gibbs for almost 100 yards, and each scoring a touchdown. And, of course, the passing game. Amon-Ra went absolutely ballistic, getting 3 touchdown passes his way, along with Jameson Williams catching a huge bomb and both getting over 100 yards and a touchdown pass to each. Overall, there were a lot of doubts for the Lions offense and their future without Ben Johnson, and while necessarily doesn't answer all the questions, it shows that they still have all the potential in the world to be the most explosive offense in the league, and as long as that talent is there, they're always going to have that potential. And overall, they made a statement this week and showed the world we are not just Ben Johnson, and we're going to show it all this week. Up next for our next big winner, give me the Indianapolis Colts, and specifically Indiana Jones. Daniel Jones looks like a new man since arriving in Indianapolis, and he is now 2-0 against a tough team in the Broncos. It was a great defense, but he made it look easy. He threw for over 300 yards again, a nice touchdown. JT went ballistic, and overall, this is a nice win for the Colts offense. If you're the Colts going into the season, a lot of doubts going in about the decision to bench Anthony Richardson for Daniel Jones. A lot of people saying it's just a way to save job and this isn't going to work and it's all going to blow up. But so far, through 2 weeks, the offense has been electric. This is the only team in the league that hasn't had a punt yet. Like, this is how dominant this offense has been. They not only dismantle Miami, but now this week against a way tougher Denver defense, they handle business and make an explosive offense again. So obviously, a lot to look forward to if you're the Colts. Shout out to Daniel Jones, who's holding down the fort. This offense had talent on paper, but the real question was there any chance Daniel Jones is going to be able to execute it? And he did. The magic continues, and they are 2-0. Big shout out to that Colts offense. Very happy with what I see out of them. And if they can keep it up, they have a real shot at stealing the South, especially with the way some of the division rivals have been looking. Now, before we get into arguably our biggest winner of the day, let's get into some honorable mentions in the winner category. First up, shout out to the juggernauts of the AFC, Bills and the Ravens. After a tough loss for the Ravens this week, they completely handled business, dropped 40 on the Browns, and same for the Bills, completely handled business, dropped 30 on the Jets, handled business there. Shout out to the quarterbacks, they look good. Both have very good performances, very strong days for their units as a whole, and shows that they are going to be a force. While it was ultimately just a win against weaker division rivals, still, it means something. It's making a statement. It's not only winning these games, but blowing out their division rivals. And one last big winner for me is the Seattle Seahawks in the honorable mentions. Seattle looked good this week. Running game was very crisp. Kenneth Walker looked good. Charbonnet stepped back, but still looked good. Darnold was crisp, and their defense handled business against Aaron Rodgers, who had just went ballistic last week. It may have been a fluke. But overall, great week for the Seattle Seahawks to get back on track. I think they're going to continue to be a sneaky team this year. And now let's get into our biggest winner for the week. And for the biggest winner this week, it has to be the Green Bay Packers for me. Yet another statement against the NFC contender team. Last week it was just beating up the Lions. This week it's the Commanders. This defense looks like it's going to be a force with Micah. Micah and Rashawn Gary looks like they are not going to be stopped. This defense is probably one of the best in the league on paper. As for the offense, they look great, and they're not done. Matthew Golden has not hit his potential yet. He's had big plays that just haven't gone his way, and when that starts falling his way, this Packers offense is going to be even more dominant. Today's candidate for Offensive Player of the Week for the Packers, Tucker Kraft. Dude looks excellent as a tight end, and I expect a lot out of him. He is looking like he's coming into his own this year and is going to be one of those guys at the tight end position this year. If this keeps up, Matthew Golden hits a stride. You already have Josh Jacobs, a good offensive line, Jordan Love. This offense is going to be borderline unstoppable, and I expect the Packers to cruise this season. They are my biggest winner for the week. Shout out to the Packers. Now that we've gone over the winners, let's get right into the losers. And first, I think we have to start with J.J. McCarthy. He was not Superman this week by any means. There was no miracle comeback in him. The Falcons defense handled business. 2 turnovers, barely any effectiveness in the passing game. And my concern for J.J. McCarthy is not just a bad game. Obviously, it happens. It is the idea that the only team that he's shown anything against is one quarter against the Chicago Bears, who just got 50 dropped on them by the Detroit Lions, making me think the Bears defense may be even weaker than we thought it was on paper. But overall, just a rough game for him. Falcons defense just figured it out. Jeff Ulbrich was torturing him all day. And obviously it's a long season, but this was a rough one for J.J. McCarthy. And now that he's injured and going to miss week 3, I have some questions. Hopefully he's able to come back healthy and he's able to get back on track. But overall, J.J. McCarthy, rough week for him. Got dominated in prime time by that defense. And next up for the losers of the week, it's got to be both teams that the Dan Campbell disciples, the Detroit coordinators, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. Rough games for both. As for Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams does not look good so far. Offense has had its growing pains. As for their defense, they got absolutely mopped by the Detroit Lions. It wasn't even close. They looked like they had no answer for any of this. And ultimately, Ben Johnson's Caleb Williams-led offense is just not working to a degree that's able to keep up with Detroit like that when their defense is getting 50 dropped on it. Overall, rough performance for Ben Johnson, especially through the first 2 weeks with a J.J. McCarthy choke job, and ultimately now falling to the Lions by 30 points. As for the New York Jets side of it, Aaron Glenn had another offense that looked absolutely putrid. I mean, Justin Fields completed 3 passes. I get he only played 3 quarters, but he completed 3 passes for 27 yards. Mitchell Trubisky came in for 1-2 plays and had more yards than that. That's just unacceptable in the modern NFL. I get it, a rushing-oriented offense, but when the run is not going, Fields needs to be able to make plays through the air. He has Garrett Wilson. There's been times the mechanics don't look right. I mean, it looks clunky. Easy throws are made hard. He's not reading the field good against the Bills, and I get it. It's one game, and he looked excellent long week prior. But ultimately, it's a concern. This offense looks rough, and they're going to have to figure it out. As for the defense, same story. Did Josh Allen have a big statistical day? No, it didn't matter, though. He rushed for almost 100 yards by himself. The Jets' defense was carved up on the ground and through the air. They did whatever they want. They toyed with this Jets team, and the reality is it's an unacceptable loss. Both tough losses for these new head coaches as they go through the growing pains, but ultimately it falls both on their offenses. I have major concerns for both moving forward. And now let's get into some honorable mention losers of the week before I get into the biggest losers of the week. First off, the Jaguars. Oh my goodness, that defense had 3 turnovers against Jake Browning and could not capitalize. They could not win this game to save their lives. Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen already having a suspect interaction where Cohen is screaming at Lawrence and Lawrence completely shrugs him off, ignores him. So a little bit of concern there. It's a little shaky. The fact your defense gets 3 turnovers and your offense played like that, especially for Ryan Thomas Jr. It was a particularly rough day for him where he was force-fed but could not get anything going. A lot of concerns there in Jacksonville after a promising start, and we got to see how this offense looks. It looks clunky right now. The growing pains are real. After the second honorable mention loser, give me the Steelers defense. That was rough. I mean, one thing last week against the Jets, I thought maybe it'd be a fluke getting dropped 30 on, but it happened again. Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks. These are not prolific offenses. These are not Josh Allen's, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. These are Justin Fields. These are Sam Darnold-led offenses. These are defensive head coaches-led offense. So imagine what's going to happen when this defense has to face a real quarterback, a real offensive mastermind. It could get ugly and fast. Obviously, it's an early season, but I have my concerns. Getting cooked like that by 2 offenses like that, it's not that they're bad offenses, but, I mean, look at what the Jets did this week against the Bills. Nothing. Look at the Seahawks prior. It was a defensive shutdown. Why is the Steelers defense getting exposed like this? And can Tomlin figure it out before it's too late? Because when Aaron Rodgers is putting up 17 points, he's not going to be able to win many games if the Steelers defense isn't behind him. And last but not least, the biggest loser of the week has to go to the Cincinnati Bengals. They may have won the game and won the battle, but they particularly lost the war this week as the Bengals' dysfunction and failure to build a competent team around Joe Burrow has come back to bite them. Joe Burrow injured, out for 3 months. You heard that right, not weeks, months. The reality is, this was kind of preventable. Their offensive line, while it had its ups and downs, it just hasn't looked good so far, and they haven't invested enough. Defense, worst defense in the league, but hey, we got T. Higgins under a contract extension for 4 years. Thank goodness for that. But ultimately, without Joe Burrow, there's been reports coming out that the feeling is distraught. That is never a good sign coming out of an organization. And while Drake Browning has had his time starting, he's had ups and downs. I don't think if the Bengals defense starts to get cooked by better offenses, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up like Joe Burrow was. I don't think he's going to be able to keep this team afloat if that offensive line is playing bad, if that defense is getting shredded. He's a good backup quarterback, but the reality is he's a good backup quarterback on a good team. If your defense is worse in the league again, which it's been better through the 2 weeks, but we'll see. It's got to play better offenses. It hasn't really had a big test yet. So ultimately, if this defense is as bad as we think it could be, this season could unwind fast for the Bengals. And I have big concerns moving forward. Like, what does this mean? If Joe Burrow's coming back and the Bengals are 5-9, 4-10, there's no reason for him to come back. The season may have already ended before it started. That's just a tough reality if you're a Bengals fan. And I hope Joe Burrow comes back 100% healthy. But the reality is I feel like the team let him down once again. And the injury bug strikes again. And now time for my favorite segment of the videos, Heroes and Zeros. Let's start with the zeros. We are seeing a bit of movement. Congratulations to the Miami Dolphins. They have made it out of the bottom 5. They are now in the bottom 6, losing to the Patriots, but in a fashion that makes your team look like it is actually a competent football team and had a shot at winning is enough to barely sneak you out. Welcome back to the bottom 5 New York Jets. I mean, I wanted to keep these guys out of the bottom 5, but just after Justin Fields' performance, your starting quarterback throws for less than 50 yards, and you get dismantled like that on both sides of the ball, you absolutely deserve to be here no matter what happened the week prior. Just not enough shown as a competent football team. For the number 4 spot, the Giants scooching up a little bit. They lost, but they lost for a totally different reason this week. Instead of getting dominated on offense, their defense gets dominated, and their offense goes absolutely ballistic. That's why they moved up a little bit. Their defense, well, it was not as stiff as it was the week prior. The offense did really good. Malik Neighbors looked awesome. Russ was cooking, and Jackson Dart was in there sometimes for some reason. But overall, decent day for the Giants offense, so got to give them their props. They deserve to get moved up for a little bit. The bottom 3. Number 3, the Tennessee Titans. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, honestly, because their losses have been by wide margins, both games. But, I mean, it's been against the Broncos defense and the Rams defense. You expect a kid, Cam Ward, coming in his first 2 starts to play 2 top 5 defenses and look awesome? No, I don't think so. Rams offense is starting to figured it out in Tennessee, unfortunately. They're still a bottom 3 team, but I think the schedule will loosen up. Cam Ward will start to look better. They'll have a chance to climb out. And congratulations to the Saints moving up 1 spot to the 31st spot. They look like a team that's going to be gritty. They're going to be maybe one of the worst teams in the league, if that's the best way to put it. They're always in the game. They're always lurking around with their defense. It doesn't matter that Spencer Rattler's their quarterback. They are somewhere to be found. Drum roll, please. The worst team in the league this week goes to the Cleveland Browns. Got dropped 41. Did not do much on offense. Unlike some of these other teams, you don't get the benefit of the doubt of the previous week because your offense still looked putrid under 98-year-old Joe Flacco. So overall, definitely think it's deserved that they're the worst team right now, even if they did get shellacked by a good team. Obviously, rankings are subject to change, but I expect the Browns to be down here for a little bit of time unless someone's floor completely falls out beneath them. So that's the zeros. Let's get to the heroes. A new top 5 has risen from the hero spots as welcome to the top 5, Los Angeles Rams. Could not put you guys in there because the offense looked a little shaky against Houston. They won the game, but not by a big number, and offense could not put up 20 points, could not put it in there just yet. This week, though, 33 points and a dominant defensive performance, more than enough in my book. Congratulations, definitely deserve to be here in the top 5. Obviously, subject to change, I definitely think the Chargers could be knocking on the door based on the result of tonight's game, maybe even Tampa Bay. We'll see. But as for number 4, give me the Baltimore Ravens. They show that they are still a dominant team. They are still a juggernaut. They lost to the best quarterback in the league, and got to give them the benefit of the doubt there. They may not be 2-0, but they also played one of the best teams in the league, and they look dominant for 3.5 quarters. So got to give them that. They look great. Killed Cleveland. Let's see if they keep it up. And the top 3 is upon us. Number 3, give me the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I understand they won the Super Bowl. They're 2-0. Can't ask for much more, but I am. To be the best team in the league, I want to see a bit more of a statement. Passing game has not been there yet. A.J. Brown, quiet start to the season. They are running the ball well, and they are playing good defense, but ultimately I think the 2 teams in front of them are playing a more balanced game of football. For number 2 spot, give me the Green Bay Packers. After Thursday night, that is 2 Super Bowl contending teams taken down in 2 weeks with a dominant defense and a great offense. That is more than enough for the top 2 spot. The only reason they cannot get the 1 spot is because of what the Buffalo Bills are doing. Did Josh Allen put up big numbers against the Jets? No, but he didn't have to. You could tell. He could do whatever he wanted against the Jets. If he wanted to throw 4 touchdowns, go for it. You wanted to run in 4, go for it. But he gave a lot of the love to James Cook this week, so shout out to him. Bills are the best team. Their defense looked stout against the Jets. They completely shut down what the Jets did last week and what kept them in the game against Pittsburgh, and they look like they're back on track. With the defense humming and Josh Allen playing well, the Bills will continue to be the best team in the league. They still possess the best win in the league against the Ravens, in my opinion. And we will see how the guard shifts next week. But I hope you guys enjoyed this update video for week 2. If you did, remember to like and subscribe. Follow the socials. There'll be daily TikTok content as well as Instagram. I'm Jack Gretler, your host of Pro Ball Pod. See you next time.